Carl, welcome to this week's edition of In the Dugout. We'll start off, as always, with a few questions from the fans. The first from Mick Lomax, following on from the result against Keighley last week. He says, currently the club appears rudderless and sailing towards the rocks. If the club fails to get into the top 5, will you, as the chief exec, consider your position?
The club's rudderless. Really? Are we about to go into administration? Last I knew, the club was going fine. Look, I'll answer the first part of the question first, and then we'll talk about my position later. Let's just put things into reality. So I'm answering a question to a fellow who doesn't even come and watch us, which I shouldn't really do. But I think the question's fair if he thinks we're rudderless. He obviously is one of the ones who, when we had some wealthy owners running the club, he obviously come and watched us then when we had a bit of success. Where are they now? They're not here. So what happens? For whatever reason they go. Why did they go? Maybe things didn't stack up, the balance sheet didn't stack up and things like that. Then the next tenure was myself and Steve. We had a little bit of success as well. So he must have come and watched then when we became champions for the first time in the club's history. Why did we go? Very, very difficult when you have to go to your missus and ask for 5 figures to pay the wages, pay the bills. So we move it on. Plus we were quite successful as well because we had more crowds than we're getting now. That's a big thing that we'll get to later on as well. So we move on to Club Doncaster, who really have put the club in a great position. We're not doing so well on the field, but what strikes me is, you know, when I had the club, everyone wanted to muck in and help. When Craig and Shane had the club, oh, they got the money, why should we help? Now Club Doncaster's, and they think the owners should put the money into to make us successful and not try and help us. I think it works. We should all work together to make the club successful. If we really honestly think we deserve a promotion team with 500 crowds, we're kidding ourselves. So the big issue that keeps coming up and keeps raising its head, apart from every other budget line in the company, and you know, the people that I need to please are happy. The RFL's happy. Obviously we've got a Challenge Cup semi. If we're a poorly run club, we don't get that. So my way of thinking is, you know, these people always pointing the finger, and do they really take pleasure in people losing their jobs? You know, 1 minute it's the coach, then it's Club Donny, now it's Carl Hall. You know, is that the answer? So we change everything. Is that the answer? We'll still end up with the same result. My view is this: whenever we have board meetings, fans forum meetings, we come up with the same thing: attendances. So instead of, you know, sitting there and wanting somebody to get the bullet, I'd like us all to get round a room, sit in a room, and say, you know, the attendances. What do we need to do? What do you guys think we need to do? Bring some ideas to the table. And tell us what we need to do to get the crowds up. Because if we get the crowds up now, the club's in that good a position off the field. Every penny that comes through the door goes into the first team to strengthen the team. The owners don't want it. So if we can get the crowds up collectively between us, listen, I'm not having a go here. I'm being realistic. If we all get together, decide how, you know, what we need to do we put bands on, do we do this, do we do that, do we flood the schools? Let's all put it together, you know, come together and take some ownership, and instead of wanting to point the finger, come up with some solutions of how we fix it and what they would like, and then it's my job to implement those changes. Maybe I might be sitting here sounding like I'm asking them to help. I am, yeah, of course I am, because we don't have all the answers, and it's not a quick fix. It's something that we've got to work on, and you know, it's we've got a coach in who's trying to play a real decent brand of rugby, so that should help. And like I say, everything else at the club is going good. So the comment of being rudderless and sailing to the rocks is far-fetched for me, because we've got a club at the moment that's, you can say you've heard it all before, whatever you want to say it, but this club is this far off exploding and being good and going up and sustaining it. But so when we do that, they'll all come back and watch. I suppose when we've been successful and we're in Super League, they'll all come back and watch, and they've been watching us 20 odd years, you know what I mean? Do it now. We've got to do it now. Easy for the owners to go, well, put the hand in the pocket and pay. And then what if they leave like the other big money boys left? We're in trouble again. That's not going to happen on my watch.
The next one comes from Paul Margrave, who talks about York City Knights and says how good a season they've had following their financial difficulty. Then he goes on to talk about the declining crowds and mentions that a number of season ticket holders are not turning out for games this season. The last point he makes is the inconsistent form is a problem, and he doesn't believe that a change of coach has addressed this. Would you agree with that?
Oh, listen, give the coach a chance, but the good thing there about the attendances and all that, and what he mentions there, and I've mentioned about let's get in a room and do something. The good thing about the Club Doncaster umbrella, next year we've already sold over 250 season tickets. We haven't even sold a season ticket to a Dons fan. Silver Plus members, we've addressed this in-house. Silver Plus members get a Dons season ticket. Whether they take that up or not, that's up to them. But what we're trying to actively show is we are doing something, and that is a great benefit of us being part of Club Doncaster. We've done over 250 season tickets already for next year. So add that to the ones we've already got, we should see probably a 50% increase straight away.
The third and final one from the fans comes from Jeremy Burrows, and it's a question I think we here know the answer to. The first question is a bit of a tongue-in-cheek one. Are we Hull reserves or the Dons? And why was Richard Horne at the semi-final of the Challenge Cup? I think we know the answer to that. He works for Hull FC. That's never been hidden, has it? He's always been a coach at Hull FC.
Jeremy, has your head been in the sand for the last 6 weeks or what? When we made the announcement of signing Richard, we said he was staying on at Hull to stay in the full-time environment, so when we go full-time we know what to do. He was sat in the stand because he's assistant coach at Hull. This is a part-time job. Do we want him to sit at home 9 till 5 Monday to Friday and then wait till Sunday comes? Paul Cook done it. We finished 4th, finished 6th. So the answer is he was in the crowd because he's the coach of Hull FC, assistant coach. What was the other part of his question?
I was asking if Carl will walk if we're not successful this season. The other part was, are we Hull FC reserves or are we the Dons?
Yeah, that's it. That's the one. Now, when we won the league, we had 4 players in from Wakefield. Nobody went and thanked Wakefield for them getting us making history. When we finished 6th in the championship and 4th in the championship when Cookie was here, we were full of Hull players. Not one mention of the Hull FC reserves. So you can't pick and choose. One day, if we were top of the league now, would anyone say a word about us having Hull players? No. Jeremy, it took 6 weeks for him to mention about Horney at Hull FC. He's been here 6 weeks. We lose a game, and all of a sudden, what's he doing at Hull? This is crazy. These statements are crazy. And well, we'll get to the final question for Mr. Lomax about me considering my position. I've had to consider my position probably 3 or 4 times over the last 2 years. You know, I could easily now have took the easy option and be sat in a chair in a Super League club where I've been offered a few times, and Gavin's been approached for me to go to a Super League club. So I don't want to take that easy option. I want to do that with this club. This club, like I keep saying, I owe it everything. Now, you know, it's a tough one, but when I get emails like this, all it does is it tells me I've made the right decision to stay where I am, fight it through, not go away when the team's not doing well. Could you imagine now the emails the club would get if I left and I went in the Super League CEO? Mate, he's left us to do this, we're turncoat and all that. So these emails, they make me more determined to get our club where it needs to be. I don't think we need to be bickering against each other. I think we need to get in a room and come up with the solutions. There's one thing letting the club down, attendances, nothing else. The club is doing great. The other reason I haven't left this club, is because I absolutely love coming into work every day. My enthusiasm for the club's not gone. I get these and it doesn't knock me confidence. These boys not going to knock me. I'm up for the fight. Doesn't worry me. Say what you want. When I get it right, I'll be going back to them and say I told you, and I mean it. I told you.
On to matters on the field then. It was a disappointing start to the Super 8 campaign, wasn't it? The defeat against Keighley. What did you make to the game overall? It was a bit of a stop-start encounter, wasn't it?
Yeah, we started poorly, and I tell you, sport. Every man, every Don supporter, me, you boys, we all thought we were going to win that game, and sport does this to you. We play Barrow this week. We're all thinking we're maybe going to be tough and we may lose this. Who knows? This is sport. If you knew you were going to come and win every single game, and what's the point? But everyone went away disappointed because everyone was very, very confident we could do a job, and we didn't. It's as simple as that. We leave ourselves plenty to do. The league table's not changed too much. York had a fantastic win against Toronto. Good on them. You know, Paul Margrave talks about them. Can we learn from them? Course. Can we learn from Toronto? Course. Can we learn from Himmel? Course. We can learn from every team in the competition. It's not just looking at because someone's had a good win. What are they doing right? And they've had a big crowd. You know, we can all do that. I could go out tomorrow and next week and say, right, Whitehaven game, everyone in Donny come for free. Would it make a difference? Probably not at the moment. So, you know, it's something we just need to sit down at the end and see where we get to, and we all see how we can get the crowds back. And that is the disappointing. And I'll say that is the single most factored thing we talk about in most of our meetings is the attendance. How do we get the attendance up? So if anyone's got a brainstorm, send it through, or come and see me. And you know, Mick Lomax and these boys come with their comments. They don't come and watch us. So hopefully what I've explained is, by them not coming, they're doing more damage to the club than I am, or the coaches, or the club Donny is. They come, their money goes straight into the pot. So, you know, don't sit out there and look for excuses and people to blame. Come and support your team, man. This is our club.
One game that didn't need help boosting the attendance there at the Keynote Stadium last weekend, the Challenge Cup semi-final. It was an occasion that really lived up to the billing, didn't it? I think there was 14,500 inside the Keynote. Hull FC won in the end, but all in all, it was a great rugby league encounter. Yeah,
and like I say, for a club who's rudderless and sailing close to the rocks, we don't get that game if we're a poorly run club. I'll say it again. And the RFL are more than happy, and you know, the RFL use us in championship meetings on how well our clubs run. So somebody sending something in like that to me don't bother me. It's got up me back, as you can probably see. But the Challenge Cup semi-final, best atmosphere I've ever experienced here at the Keepmoat in the 10 years I've been here. It was amazing. The game was a cracker that first half. Hull ran away with it the second half. Talking to Hull, you know, it was only 3 or 4 years ago there was 4,000 people at Hull with Radford banners out, Radford out signs all over. Look, they stayed loyal, they looked after him, everybody stayed together. They've been to Wembley 2 years in a row. It just shows what can happen. You know, it's a bit of I don't know, it's a tough one, because 3 years ago I'm ringing Radders up saying, keep your head down, mate, keep working hard, do this. The other week he's phoning me, mate, you were brilliant to me when I was going through a tough time. Keep your head down, keep going. So the roles are reversed, but that's what you want. You want good people behind you, and good people, you know, watching your back and looking after you and saying, take no notice of these people. And our club's full of good people. You know, this fella's gone on social media and put these questions on there, and I don't have the Facebook or the whatever the other one. I forget the other one they go on. I don't have it, but people I know are happy to come and show me, have you seen this? Have you seen this? And you read it and you just think, man, you want someone to get the sack? You must have a lovely life. You know what I mean? If you're really that sort of person that you're wanting people to lose their jobs over what? A game of rugby. Nobody's died.
Hakeem Maloudy signed before the League One transfer deadline, and he's been away with a French World Cup training camp. What stage is that at? Is he in England now? Is he ready to play?
Yeah, he's here. I picked him up, I think, on Monday. He trained Tuesday, training tonight, he trained Friday. Brandon Westerman's passed his head test, which he failed last week. I think Jace is back training. He's got over a little bit of illness he had. So, there's potentially 3 players who could go in. That's up to Richard and decide what he wants to decide to do. But we've just got to give everything we've got and try and put a 80-minute performance together. I think we show in patches what we can do, and when we do play, we look a handful, but we just need to try and put some 80-minute performances together. I'm not going to sit here and tell everyone what they already know. Everyone's seen the game, and you want me to sit here and say things bad against the boys? No.
Finally, then, looking ahead to the Barrow game this weekend, how crucial could it be if we were to go up to Cumbria and claim the 2 points?
Oh, it'll be huge. They're a real good club. They're well coached, tough. A good victory at Whitehaven last week. So if we can get them, it'll be a massive feather in our cap, massive. And the boys are, they're wanting to do well. They're really wanting to give us everything, and probably sometimes overplaying at times is, I think, the word Richard used, and he's probably right. They're getting told to play what they see, and they're doing that. Sometimes it's just the simple stuff that needs to be tidied up. And listen, they don't go out there to lose games, and I'll say that, and I'll say it again. And people can, say we've heard it all before. Well, I've heard a lot of stuff what they've said before, and well, I'm not coming until he's gone, and I'm not, until that coach is sacked, I'm not coming back, and say whatever. But one thing is, we'll get it right. We'll get it right. It takes time, takes hard work, takes togetherness, but Club Doncaster is the future for the Doncaster Rugby League Club, and I'm not a spokesman for them. I believe in what they're doing, and another reason why I'm still here. But we will definitely get to where we need to be. How long it takes us, I've no idea. But one thing I do know is the club is very financially secure and very, very on an even keel, and we'll be here for many, many years.